Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi says the destruction of an ancient mosque in the city of Mosul is an official declaration of defeat by so-called Islamic State. Iraqi forces say is blew up the Great Mosque of al-Nuri and its famous leaning minaret as jihadists battled to stop advancing pro-government troops. It said American aircraft had destroyed the complex, a claim denied by the U.S. Aerial photographs show the complex largely destroyed. The mosque, which was more than 800 years old, was where in July 2014 as leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi demanded allegiance in his first and only public appearance following the declaration days earlier of a caliphate. The mosque's destruction has brought widespread condemnation. A senior U.S. commander in Iraq said it had destroyed one of Mosul and Iraq's great treasures. This is a crime against the people of Mosul and all of Iraq, and is an example of why this brutal organization must be annihilated, Majgen Joseph Martin said. What happened to the Great Mosque? The Iraqi commander in charge of the offensive to retake Mosul said troops were within 50 m160 ft of the mosque when is committed another historical crime. Footage released by the Iraqi forces shows the ancient landmark being demolished. Previous reports said IS had rigged the mosque with explosives to stop the advance of Iraqi troops, but that local residents had until now prevented the militants from blowing it up. IS says the mosque was destroyed by a U.S. airstrike, but has not provided any evidence to support this. Iraqi forces are one street away from entering the mosque, according to state TV, and more details may emerge. If they do so, is the battle for Mosul over? Thousands of Iraqi security forces, Kurdish Peshmerga fighters, Sunni Arab tribesmen and Shia militiamen, supported by U.S.-led coalition warplanes and military advisors, have been involved in the battle to retake the key city since the 17th of October last year. The government announced the full liberation of eastern Mosul in January, but the west of the city has presented a more difficult challenge. With its narrow, winding streets, the UN has warned that IS may be holding more than 100,000 people in the city as human shields. On Sunday, commanders announced the start of the final chapter of the offensive, with Iraq's counter-terrorism service, army, and federal police attacking the old city from all directions. The army said it believed there were no more than 300 militants left in the city, compared with almost 6,000 in October. On Tuesday, an Iraqi military statement on state TV said IS had lost control and civilians previously trapped in the old city were being released. The U.S. military has hailed gains by Iraqi forces, but says the full liberation of the city from its control is not yet complete. Why was the mosque important? The al-Nuri mosque dated back to 1172 and was Mosul's most famous Sunni mosque. It was named after the Muslim leader, Nur al-Din Mahmud Zanji, famous for waging jihad against Christian crusaders. The leaning minaret was nicknamed the Hunchback, a month after his forces over in Mosul in June 2014. Baghdadi gave a Friday sermon from the pulpit inside the mosque and spoke about the newly proclaimed caliphate, a state governed in accordance with Islamic law, or Sharia, by God's deputy on earth, or caliph. The militant group flew its black flag from the famous minaret, and the building became the center of his activities. Why would IS blow it up? IS fighters have shown scant regard for history or culture in the 3 years since their lightning advance across northern Iraq, says Paul Adams, BBC News World Affairs correspondent. Destruction of the mosque, most observers assumed, would mark the group's final act of angry defiance before finally losing their grip on Mosul. Destroying the landmark would perhaps be better for IS than seeing it in the hands of its enemies, a scenario that would be a bigger symbolic blow for the group, adds BBC monitoring journalist Mina al-Alami. Moreover, IS has openly said it will pursue scorched earth tactics in Mosul. She says it has already targeted several mosques and tombs, including the Shrine of Yunus. Meanwhile, the group's official line that the mosque was destroyed in U.S. airstrikes has inspired defiance and threats of retaliation among its supporters online, according to BBC monitoring. Sympathizers said Iraqi forces believed that destroying the mosque would break IS militant spirit, but that instead it would make them more determined to fight on.